It's all subconscious. This is subconscious marketing to get people to feel a certain way about the show.
Welcome to Profoundly Pointless. My name is Nick. In this episode, we're going to look at voice acting. Our guest is someone whose voice you've probably heard hundreds of times. This is voice actor Brent Allen Hagel.
This show is totally FUBAR. F is for full throttle father-daughter bonding.
Thank you for joining us. Like and subscribe if you get a chance. Is this something that you learn to do, or you have it, or you don't?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I'm a voiceover actor. I've been doing it for probably now 20 years. It's something that I thought about doing, listening to old time radio and listening to these kind of golden voices. The era of the golden voice has kind of gone away to more conversational voices. So I would say this is the time where a lot of people are jumping into it because they're not looking so much for a golden voice. They're just looking for real people. The hardest part is figuring out how to turn it into a career, because there's guys that have been doing it for 20, 30 years. Why would they ever hire some kid who's 19 who says, I want to do voice acting? They're like, that's cool. That's cool, kid. Like, go do 20 years of radio and then come back to me. Because there's these veterans that, you are direct. Once you want to get into voice acting, all of a sudden you are directly competing against people who've been doing it for 20 years.
Man, that is not I would imagine that is not an easy thing to break into.
They don't want you. No one needs another voice actor. There's every talent agency in Los Angeles and New York is overflowing with talent. There's roughly 500,000 active voice actors in America only right now. With the internet, it's global. And there's bilingual people all over the world who can speak English, Spanish, French, whatever, that are bilingual. And a lot of these castings now say, hey, we're going to hire one person for English and Spanish. So if you can't do both, you're out. You're instantly out. So it takes acquiring very specific skills and marketing those skills and saying, look, this is what I do better than anybody else. Some people will get into it like, I want to do video games and I want to do movie trailers and I want to do all these things. And that's great, but you really need to be known for a specific like bullseye sort of skill. And for me, that's my promo and trailer work. Like I said, it took me 7 years of weekly training, getting in the glass booth with 12 other artists, sitting behind the glass with an engineer and a coach, directing me, going through NBC scripts, CBS scripts, old Fox scripts, TNT scripts, all these scripts that collected from all these networks, and going through them. Okay, what is the brand of CBS? What's the brand of ABC? What do all these networks sound like? Because a Fox drama is going to sound a little bit different than a TNT drama. So you have to do all this research and marketing and branding to kind of find out the sound that the marketing agency wants that network to sound like. So it's very much a marketing job and listening job as well. And when I got into it, I didn't really know all this. I just thought the movie trailer guy was awesome. I was like, what does it take to be the movie trailer guy? And apparently it's 20 years of really hard work. That's the answer to that.
It's never as simple as it seems, right? Just because we're kind of on this right now, right? To understand that difference, could you give me like an example of saying, okay, this is Fox, this is CBS?
So it depends on timing. So if you even were to go back like 5 or 7 years ago, it would sound different. But right now, 2023, everything is very just the way we're speaking now. Very conversational. They don't want any of this sort of thing, any polish, any push on the voice, any sort of bigger than life feelings. They want it to all just be your neighbor leaning over the fence telling you that, oh, there's this new drama on Fox that is just crazy. It's got all the action you want, right? And then, oh, hey, I saw this new comedy on Fox. It's got all the action you want, right? So that right there would be the difference between a drama and a comedy. Very subtle. But you see, in one of them, I'm smiling and I'm warm and open. The other one, I'm very serious and straightforward. So these are all genre-based marketing shows. So I'm within the subtext of my voice. I need to tell you if it's a comedy, a drama, an action, a crime procedural sort of show, but you can tell all that within the tonality of my voice. ABC tends to be a little nostalgic. They still are a little bit warmer in their deliveries. Kind of a little bit more polished, a little more game show, a little more smile, a little this guy, hey. Whereas Fox is just super real, super grounded as far as they can get maybe voice actors that are, 4 or 5 years in their training, and they can coach them through and get solid reads out of them. Whereas ABC tends to go for more veteran voices. That just kind of depends on the executives in charge of what they're after. But if you get into this business, all of a sudden you will start opening your consciousness and being aware of what you're hearing. Because most of the time, the average American is not listening to a voice and being like, oh, I compare this voice with FX Network. That's just not something you think about. It's just this voice that's coming at you through TV or radio, and you accept it for what it is, and you move on with your life. But for me and people that do my work, we're like, oh man, I read for that and I didn't get it. Who got it? Oh man, he sounds great. Or she sounds great. Oh, that's what I should have done. That's what they were going for. So every time we strike out, we learn what we should have done and what that network is going for.
Do you know what they're going for ahead of time? Or is
No.
it just you're just like, this is what I think and hope for the best?
Most of the time, they don't even know. They just send out a script and they say, hey, we're looking for auditions for American Horror Story 4. And that's kind of obvious because it's a horror franchise, so it's going to be a little creepy. But if it's just a random, let's say a random drama, and they just throw out a script for a random drama, most of the time it'll just be like a line, hey, this is a drama for FX. They won't tell you like the exact tonality or male or female or anything. And then they'll throw it to all the talent agencies in New York and LA. And we all read for it, and then they don't really know until they listen back to it. The editors, producers, room producers, executives, and they say, that's our voice. Because they'll take it, they'll throw it into their rough cut, voice acting comes at the very end. The voiceover announcer is the last piece of the puzzle. The video is there, the music is there, the sound design is there, everything is already made, and then they drop in that voiceover announcer at the very end. And it's simply as, does this voice make our piece better? Does it give it that wow and that pop to attract audiences? And so they may listen to. They're pretty specific when it comes to the work I do. They'll probably narrow it down. The agents and managers will kind of cull the auditions to maybe top 5 from each agency. Whereas the commercial world, they'll probably be submitting 100 from each agency, and then they sit there and they go through them and listen to them. Maybe they'll drop 10 into their finished piece and submit them to the VP of marketing, and they'll say, choose from these 10. We have a favorite, which is A, B, C, and D, and then ultimately it's a very high level decision when it comes to choosing voiceover for a television show or a movie. It is ultimately a senior vice president or executive vice president of marketing that's making that call.
Is this the kind of thing, though, like, do people notice? Would I notice, right? Like, I'm going to watch first show for whatever reason that comes to my mind is Reno 911. Perfect. I have no idea why it's Reno 911.
Yeah,
right?
That's good. Like, that's a good example.
I'm going to watch Reno 911 because you voiced it, and not because somebody else voiced it. Like, does it have that level, even on a kind of a subconscious thing?
You nailed it. That's the word right there. It's all subconscious. This is subconscious marketing to get people to feel a certain way about the show. The tonality in the subtext of the voices makes people feel a certain way. So they need to find somebody who, even if it's a straight voice, like Reno 911, only on Comedy Central. Even that, it's a male, growly, weighted voice, but in that little wink on Comedy Central, I gave you a little bit of it's comedy. I gave you a little lift, as opposed to Reno 911, only on Comedy Central. Like, a deadpan could also work because people know it's a comedy. But you wouldn't want to a romance voice or something like that wouldn't work. And Reno 911 is so applicable that you can do a lot of stuff with it and still convey goofy action scripted comedy. But yes, in each intellectual property, each piece has probably a range you could play with how you deliver it. But yeah, they may pick somebody who has done a lot of comedies in the past based on their record and bring them into Reno 911 because in the subconscious of America, they know that sound relates to funny.
You're right? Like I can tell a lot about a show or a movie or whatever, like by the music. And then the voice at the end tells you like, oh, that's what it's about.
Yesterday I worked for Sega. I can't say what the project was, but they wanted a 90s nostalgia vibe. And in that, you kind of have a little bit of this. There's a little announcer, like there's some micro machines action going on. But you're definitely pushing on your vocal cords. You're being a character. You're being larger than life. But for me, I would say I do Discovery Channel. I do TLC. For Discovery, I drop it down here and I give it more weight, make it deeper and more kind of aggressive and punchy. Whereas TLC, it's totally light and uplifting and like I don't want to hurt anybody. I want everyone to be best friends. Like, did you hear what she just did? Oh my God, that was crazy, right? But so it's very much a physical character you're playing, but behind a microphone. And then for Discovery, it's mostly adventure, action, cars, rebuilding cars, robots, things like that. So I just add the gold mining, just the aggression of kind of being out there and getting dirty, and relating to our target demographic, our target audience. Kin Dig Customs, only on Discovery. Like that wouldn't have the same impact as Kin Dig Customs, only on Discovery. It's just you have to sell your audience and bring them into it's world building, right? Bring them into the world of the show. So each job, you kind of look at the brief and see, what is this? What are we making? And who watches this? Who cares about this? Who is the number one fan? And a piece of advice from the late movie trailer god, Don LaFontaine, said every piece of content or every show and every movie is somebody's favorite movie. So do that. Your job as the voice actor is to do that piece of content justice and invite that number one fan into that world. And I think if I can give any voice actor a piece of advice, that is what I've taken. And I hold that true in every session, that this is someone's like favorite thing.
Okay, so kind of in the business aspect of it necessarily, right? You've got to do how many of these a year?
Hundreds or thousands, yeah.
You've got to do that many to kind of make it financially viable.
Well, I would say probably about 0.01% of voice actors work in movie trailers. So there's probably 500,000 voice actors in America right now. There's probably 30 people who work in trailer. And probably of those 10 get a majority of the work. And then when it comes to promo, which is being the voice, which is a trailer for a TV show, right? A promo is a trailer for a TV show. There's so many more networks, sports networks, cable networks. There's Tubi, there's Freevee, there's all these things that there's probably, but even that's probably 0.1% of voice actors work in promo. It's a very kind of exclusive club because it takes the understanding of branding and marketing. And it also, we have to work in real time to audio beds. So we're not recording things and shipping it off. They're playing us a 60-second or 30-second track in our earphones, and we're watching a script and we're punching in lines. So it goes, it says, like it'll say music cue, and we hear music cue, and then it'll say actor dialogue. Mike Tyson says something, then boom, you punch and you say your line, and then sound effect, gunshot, then you say a line, and then so we're working in real time to audio beds via the internet connected to studios. So it's kind of a very like a dance. It's a very skilled profession.
That sounds really hard. Right?
It is, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun when you get good at it.
But why do it that way? Why not just record it and then edit it in? What's the reason?
Because voice actors are the last piece of the puzzle. Because
Oh,
they want certain images, they want certain graphics, they want certain things because the image comes first. A promo person and trailer person needs to think like a video editor. What scene am I setting up? Is this voice leading into a gunshot? Is this voice leading into a car explosion? Is this voice leading into a kiss or a romance scene? Like how do I, is it a rise or a fall? Is it Sunday on Fox or is it Sunday on Fox? How are we playing this? So that's a conversation that you can have with the producer in real time. Okay, what is the scene? What are we doing? It's very much acting, right? So but the world of voice acting, because I'm going to speak to the general audience who's maybe interested in this, is massive. You could be someone who is the voice of Nike and have a whole career. You could be the guy who just does the horror movie trailers, says rated R, and have a whole career. Or you could be the lead character in Activision video games, or even just a background actor in World of Warcraft games and have a career. It really depends on what do you imagine for yourself? What makes you the happiest within this world? Some people do audiobooks and they play 15 characters. And within this audiobook, they have to have a narrator voice, a goblin voice, the female lead voice, like all these different voices. And you have to record for a month every day and remember all these characters and do all these things. So I give a lot of credit to the audiobook people and the Audible people because that is a marathon. So it really depends on personality traits and have as to what you want to do within this realm of voice acting. But if you really want it, I'm no one special. Like I had no leads. I had no parents in the business. I didn't have any sort of connections. I just wanted it really bad. And over time, I met the people, I took the workshops, I paid for the classes, I bought the gear, and eventually I got there.
Well, that's good advice.
Okay.
Here, I just ask it super directly. How much money do you make?
Well, a comfortable 6 figures.
Okay, that's good. That's good money, right? Not crazy, it's good.
Yes, I don't make over $1 million a year yet, but there's a handful that do a solid multiple 7 figures a year.
Now, is that dependent on like what you're doing? Like if you're the movie trailer, that's going to be the biggest one. Or can you kind of like what's generally, if you were going to do this solely for making money, what's the avenue that somebody would say like, oh, you should do this kind of voice acting?
Depends on how you want to get your money. If you want to be a video game voice actor and make a lot of money, you'll have to go to Comic-Cons and do signings. If you want to be a voice actor that is known as a voice actor and tour all the Comic-Cons and go to all the conventions, you'll make your money mostly off of those in-person meetings and meet and greets because the pay is Screen Actors Guild pay. You will get, I think it's like $1,200 a day or something. That's your flat rate. But, if you work 100 days that year, you made $100,000. Plus your signings, you'll probably make another $200,000. So you'll probably, you'll be doing $400,000 a year as a famous voice actor, quote unquote. Or you can get like on a show like Simpsons, who will pay you $100,000 an episode. It all depends on kind of your contracts and who you are and how long you've done it. So there's really no set rule on that. But if you look at Screen Actors Guild rates for trailers, it's about, I think, $1,800 or $1,900 per trailer. They'll usually cut maybe 5 to 15 trailers per film. So you could be doing, $10,000 to $50,000 a movie. Some years you may make $50,000. Some years you may make $250,000.
A lot of the questions that I was going to ask you kind of came in as listener submitted questions. So are you ready for some harder listener submitted questions?
Let's do it.
Is it more about the voice or more about the acting?
Acting, 100%. Your voice doesn't even matter. It's the way you make people feel with your voice.
But what is it about your voice that makes people feel like that?
My ability to manipulate people's emotions.
Sinister laugh.
Well, that's what it is. It's acting. It's understanding what this show was about and who would like this show and what voice to use to convince them that this is the best show on television.
Then for voice actors, right? Like, how come that wouldn't translate into face acting? Or is it...
Because in face acting, you don't have to say anything. You can just do like eyebrow lifts and like this sort of, movements with your face and like, give them a little like teeth or growl. Like there's all these like close-up movements you can do just with face, because the face is so expressive that you could do so much with it. But in voice acting, we have to audibly do that. And so even in my session yesterday, and I was like, let's go through levels of growl. Let's go through levels of scream. Let's go through levels of, and me and the producers, we just try it. Because, we're not recording on tape. We have digital recording. The session could be as long as we want it to be, and we just take the good parts. So it really is, if you are an artist who is willing, I would say the word artist at this point, that is willing to come up with things that even the producers and creatives that wrote the piece couldn't think of, you will be called back for the next project for sure.
Hardest category to kind of nail down, easiest category, and I think they mean like genres. Like, is action easier than drama? Hardest genre, easiest genre.
Some people I cannot get a horror read out of them. Some people I cannot get a comedy read out of them. It just really depends on their personal upbringing and ego and personality type to answer that question. But to answer that question, I would say double down on their emotional strengths. If someone is kind of a goofy comedian, double down on their ability to convey that through comedy promos. If someone is kind of shy and quiet, they may lean more into suspense or kids shows. So it's really meeting with somebody, giving them a stack of 10 scripts and saying, read this. And I could tell you exactly what they should be doing in the marketplace. So for me, probably the hardest to do, it was easier for me to do comedy and family in the beginning, because I'm a lighthearted person. I kind of like to joke and have fun. And so it was probably the hardest for me to do a horror read. But I could do next episode of Friends on ABC. I could pull that out of the hat. But if you wanted to do next episode of Friends on ABC, that sort of growly darkness takes a while to learn. Having said that, there's going to be someone who is the best at each genre. There's the best action voice. There's the best comedy voice. There's the best animation voice. I'm talking about for promos and trailers at this point. There's the best reality TV voice. So there's all these different genres. So if you really like something, do your training, look at it and say, okay, where can I realistically compete right now to make money today? And then have that as a place to make money, and then start expanding through your workshops and your training to the other genres.
Is your voice insured?
It is not. I looked into it. No.
Do you feel like it should be?
No, I don't. If it went out, I would just do something else.
This is a little bit sarcastic of a question, I think.
Sure.
But they're getting at something, right? Do you hate celebrity voice actors in the sense that, like, there's this thing and they just cast Paul Rudd, right? Or whatever. Like, do voice actors who specialize in voice acting get annoyed that celebrities sometimes, simply by being celebrities, get some of the parts?
The short answer is yes. But when you're speaking to me, I don't care, because they're not going to get Paul Rudd to do a movie trailer.
That's a good way of looking at it.
But most people that tell you they want to do voice acting want to be Bart Simpson, or they want to be Rick and Morty. Most people want to be cartoon characters. When you say to someone, I want to do voice acting, they want to be a character in a video game. They want to play the Space Commando, or they want to play the Bug or the Apple or whatever in a Pixar film. So I could see why they would be upset, because they spent, they went to Juilliard and spent 8 years in training, and they did all this stuff, and then they just give it to Chris Pratt, and they make him Mario, even though he's not Italian or anything. So I could see where they'd be agitated with that, especially, they went through all this time to get into SAG-AFTRA and do all this training. But at the same time, if they're good enough, they'll get cast for it. And they're making so much content that you really can't focus on those like something like that. Like, you will find a job if I call it winning on the battlefield. If you're good enough, and this comes down to skill. When they're casting, they will find the person that is right for that part. And you may not be right for that part, but you will find a job. You will be right for something that you can't even imagine. Like, I'll wake up on a Monday, I have no jobs, nothing scheduled, I'm essentially unemployed, and then I'll get an email at 3:00 saying, "Hey, we love you for this role. You got yourself a job." It's terrifying and exciting at the same time.
Who do you think is the best voice actor of all time?
The best voice actor of all time is Frank Welker, who's a voice of
Megatron.
Megatron, yes, Megatron, Scooby-Doo, all of the shows from the 80s and 90s. He can make the sound of wind. He's that good. Like, he is the best voice actor.
Is there anybody else? Like, who else would you kind of put on that if you did like movies, video games, TV shows? Who else would you kind of put on? And if you're one of them, if you're the promo guy, like, look,
I would say, Peter Cullen, obviously for Transformers, but I would say the best voice actor has to be somebody that has a really massive resume, which means they could do so many things. If you look at Frank Welker's IMDb, it's just thousands of things. He can do so much. He's very impressive. And I know a lot of great animation people and actors and video game actors, and they would say the same thing, hands down. For movie trailers, it was Don LaFontaine. Currently, Howard Parker, who kind of is holding kind of that. When he passed, he kind of took the reins from that. Ashton Smith would be another great trailer voiceover. And I would say trailer and promo is kind of the same package. And for animation, of course, the cast of Simpsons is great. I don't really know the answer to that, because I'm kind of a hyper-focused guy. Like, if it's not my world, like, I don't give it any attention.
What's your favorite thing that you've done?
Probably my most recent work for the Arnold Schwarzenegger show, FUBAR. So I just did the trailer for them for Netflix for FUBAR, which was so much fun, because usually I have to be a little bit more grounded, like, rated R coming soon. But for this, I got to be like, it's the best show on TV. Like, I got to bite into it a little bit, give it some growl and some action. Because the script called for a 90s throwback trailer, which is like my favorite thing to do. And so I auditioned for it, and I got it. And then we probably had, 7 or 8 sessions. And the client would come back with notes. Hey, do this line again, or I gave them like just 5% different tweaks. Like these reads, like they want, hey, give me 5% more action, And you have to, as a voice artist, you need to learn the art of nuance, is what I would call voice acting, right? The art of 5% up, 5% down, 10% up, 10% down, a little bit, 5%. It's like having a bunch of different dials in front of you: growl, aggression. Romance, love. Like, you have to crank all these dials to find that perfect mix of what the show is, right? And all these things, you audition for it, you read it, and then you kind of forget about it, because you have to, or else you're going to drive yourself crazy. So anytime I get an email or a phone call back saying, "Hey, client," it's always the client, which would be the studio. The client loved your voice for this project. We're going to move forward, and we're going to make more pieces with you. Which is how you earn the paycheck, because most of the time we make no money and we just audition. A majority of the days are reading scripts and sending them into the black abyss.
Do people ever recognize the voice? Like, you ever ordering coffee and somebody's like, "What?"
No. I would say that would come from somebody that is a famous character, like maybe King of the Hill. But a lot of voice actors, their performance voice is different than their speaking voice.
Where do you think the industry goes from here?
I think a majority of the work that is not character driven or high level will get taken over by AI, simply due to people wanting to cut costs. That's why it's so important for a voice actor to become known for something or very specialized in something that a computer could not copy, or even if they wanted to, they would have to pay you a licensing fee, and you wouldn't have to work, but they would pay you to use your voice. Like they license a hit song, and it would be, voice acting will probably start leaning into licensing more, because we can record 30 minutes of our voice in a character and they can use us for the entire show.
How would that work though? Wouldn't you have to like record every word that they would possibly use? Like how does
the AI algorithm creates it?
Oh, it can do. Is that how like Siri works? I always wondered if they just had Siri basically record every single possible word in the English language.
Those AIs are, the technology has gotten so much better since Siri came around. I just did it last week for my own project that I'm working on. They needed 30 minutes of me basically reading a book. I just found 30 minutes of content that I uploaded, and now if anything I type into it, it sounds very close to my speaking voice, and it can spit it back within minutes. And so now it comes time to, how do you control this and license it so it's not kind of just thrown out there into the internet highway, which is what the writers' strike is about right now. Chat GPT and all these AI things can write me a novel that's a murder mystery novel with 7 main characters with a surprise ending that is based on Shakespearean plays, and then boom, you get a 300-page script that's pumped out within 15 minutes. And so same with voice. They have 30 years of Morgan Freeman doing movies. They can just upload all of those movies and data into a brand new script, and like have Morgan Freeman narrate the entire movie. So it comes down to, we don't need to actually do the sessions anymore. It comes down to likeness and trademark and licensing. That's where it's going. I know people like to perform. It's fun to perform, but will the people writing the checks want to waste the time on the care and the love of the performance, or are they trying to get a paycheck as quick as possible?
And this possibly on a lighter note, if you're familiar with this, how do you feel about the yes scene in Toast of London?
Yes! I did that yesterday, but the word was plus. The exact same thing happened to me yesterday, but the word was plus. I probably said the word plus 70 different ways. Plus! Plus! Yeah, I did that, so I relate. But, ironically, it's right on. Like, if you can't say a word like that and come up with 50, 60 different possibilities to say it, they're not a good voice actor. Like, a voice actor should just be able to do it. Like, if they ask me to do anything in the session, operatic, quiet, loud, soft, scream it, whisper it, like all these things should be all things that you intuitively know how to do. And our job is to please the client. So if within the sketch, his job is like, okay, I'm going to please the client. I wouldn't go as far as to being like sarcastic and start talking back to him because I want the gig. But I guess if you're at a certain place where you don't need the money, then you can start being sassy. But it is very realistic as to what we do. Like you'll be in a commercial session. It'll be take 42. It'll be take 47. And they'll just be like, we need the word there to be just a little more there, a little there, like this, there. You're like, there, like, no, there. And so they'll be just like, the advertising agency and the person directing it has a vision, and it's your job to make it happen, as frustrating as it may be.
I wondered when I first saw that, I was like, I bet that's real.
That's right.
I bet that's exactly how that really happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like, could you make that a little bit different? That's pretty much all the questions we got, man. What's kind of coming up next for you? How can people find out more about you? That kind of stuff.
Sure, you can hit me anywhere on the social internet webs at trailer, as in movie trailer VO Brent. Trailer VO Brent. Instagram, TikTok, and then LinkedIn if you're a professional willing to connect. But I really don't know. That's kind of the beauty of it, is that every day I wake up and I have no idea what's going to happen. Yesterday I read for an upcoming, it was 8 p.m. I got a text and they said, hey, we need you to read on this upcoming Warner Brothers movie. So I just dropped whatever I was doing. I drove to the studio and I read for it. So I literally have no idea what's happening. But the thing is, just be ready. Be good. Be talented. Be ready. Stay sober. Because, you never know when a phone call is going to come, and you got to just instantly be able to perform. So I'm, 15 minutes away from the next greatest gig.
If you were to go back in time and talk to your younger self, do you think your younger self would listen to you?
No, because there were people like me trying to advise the younger John, and he didn't listen to them then. I don't think I would listen to me at all.
I don't really think that I would listen to older version of me either, which is an odd thing to say. It's like you won't even listen to yourself.
For some reason, this question gets brought up a lot.
This very question, people ask you if you'd listen to your younger self.
Like, would you go back? Would you maybe listen to others? Would you do things differently? And I'm not trying to sound gloating, but I had a lot of fun in my quote unquote non-responsible years. I don't think even if me now were to pull the old John by the hair and like force him to listen, I still don't think the old John would have listened.
I don't think the new John would listen. I don't think that you would listen to 60-year-old you now.
Well,
see, I would listen to 60-year-old me. 20-year-old me wouldn't listen to 35-year-old me, though. 35-year-old me would listen to 55-year-old me, though.
See, I think I would too, though. But I also think it's just because of where you are. Like 55-year-old me, my kids will be grown. Who knows where I'll be? Who knows if I'll be alive? Like 55-year-old you knows things. You know what I mean? As where 35-year-old you is like, for most people, you're just hitting that part of your life, where you probably have real responsibility. No, maybe not 35, maybe 25, 30. But all I'm saying is the older you get, I feel like the more experience and life experiences you gain. And that's where I would listen more. As where 20-year-old me is going to go, 35-year-old me doesn't know anything.
I can kind of agree with that. But here's the other question. Could younger you take current you in a fight? Would you lose a fight to the younger version of yourself?
Absolutely. Believe it or not, no one ever believes me when I say this, but I was much more aggressive as a younger person, in much better shape, stronger. I'm pretty sure the younger me would kick the shit out of current me.
I think that current me would win, but would lose the next day. Like, I might win the fight, but I would win the war. Like, younger me would do way more damage to me. Like, younger me would lose, but recover by the next day. And older me would win, but basically be scarred for the rest of my life.
Younger you would be out drinking after the fight and then back at it the next morning.
Right. Be ready for round 2, and older me would be done. But I think that older me would still could take younger me at this point.
I think older me would not even entertain it. Like, if younger me came up and started talking shit or being dumb, I think older me would just, brush it aside and tell this idiot to go away. I wouldn't even cross my mind to get into a fight at this point.
Would you want to hang out with younger you? Would you like?
Yeah, I cut you off because absolutely. I actually think younger me was fantastic to hang around with. I don't know what other people thought, but I thought I was pretty awesome.
Younger you was fun, right?
Maybe I've heard a little too much on the front end sometimes, but once you got to know me, you realize that I'm a loyal, caring person. But I was probably a little much up front, especially in a bar situation.
Oh yeah, I remember the first time I met you. I thought you were an idiot. I was like, Jesus, this guy's an idiot. You were too up front. You were like, you gotta slow down a little bit, man. You can't go into everything 1,000 miles an hour.
That's the way it was, man. That was my I feel the need to tell the story, and I'm going to tell it. But so I like to do things. I like to host, right? So I've started hosting ping pong nights during the week where friends come over, we play ping pong. Well, if you had to bet money, say out of 7 or 8 guys, which one of them broke the ping pong table, who do you think it was?
It's either you or Dante.
Dante, unfortunately, doesn't get here early enough anymore because of children. So it was me. But it was like the most ungraceful, pathetic breaking you could imagine.
Why did you break your own ping pong table? Did you fall into it like an idiot?
Well, for one, it's not mine, which makes it even worse.
Why is it at your house then?
Because
I borrow a ping pong table?
Yeah, I needed a ping pong table and a friend.
How do you borrow a ping pong table? Like, hey, can I borrow your ping pong table? Like saying borrow your bed to somebody. Hey, can I just borrow that for a little while? It's a big thing to borrow. It is not easy to transport either.
Well, it's not a I'm not taking away from the ping pong table because I think this person may listen to the podcast. But I will say that you can fold it up into basically like 2 suitcase size rectangles and carry it.
So is it a really nice thing because it's able to do that, or is it a piece of shit? Because it could be either one, right? It could be really nice and you can make it that small, or it could be a piece of crap and you can make it that small.
I will just say that it is not top of the line, but also
okay, so it's a piece of shit.
I'm not saying that. But regardless, anyways, I went. There's like 2 trellises and they're held up by a support bar in the middle on each end. That it practically holds the table up. And I went for a ball and started to lose my balance, and I put my hands on the ping pong table and I broke both support bars by me just putting my hands on the table. Mind you, I'm a big guy, I get it, but like, let me just put it this way: when it happened, everyone in the room was like, "What just happened? How did you break it?" It wasn't like I went through the table. That would have been way better.
Yeah.
But anyways,
you should have sold it.
Just no, I actually got a hold of the company. They're going to send me the support bars. I'm going to fix it. Everything's going to be good. But
no, you're not.
I am.
None of that. I know that they're going to send you I'm sure you got a hold of the company. I'm sure that they're going to send you the support bars. You're not going to fix it.
I have to fix it. It's not my ping pong table.
It's not going to be 100%. I can tell you that. But best I'm going to give you is 60%.
No, I'm gonna make it 100%. But me breaking it did not ruin the night. One of the guys who was at my house is an engineer. He's fantastic. He's like, "Do you have a 2x4?" So we cut the 2x4 to a certain length and used that as a choice, and we continued the night.
So did you win?
I'm middle of the road. I mean, I'm not one of the best, but I'm not one of the worst.
Okay, all right. I mean, it's your house, so I think that you don't want to, if you invite everybody over and then just dominate them, then that kind of looks badly on you.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Can I tell you a story about my life over the last week?
Yes, please.
So I'm not advocating that people should do this, but I believe this is something that I think had to be done. So I'm driving, and the guy's not going. I give him. So wait, let me start over. So I'm at a red light. Guy's not going in front of me. I'm going to say that maybe I could have been a little bit early. Could have been a little bit early. But I was justified, right? I might have been early, but I was justified. So he flips me off. Then he starts driving down the road. I start driving down the road. He then pulls over to the side of the road. Not let's go. He just pulled over. He was like checking his map. I noticed this, turn around and come back and confront him.
Okay.
So
okay, continue, please.
It ends there. It ends there. But this is my question and reason for telling the story. I don't think that people get checked enough in society anymore. I think that people need to be checked a little bit more. And that's really the reason that motivated me to go around, turn around and do that. And be like, "Hey man, noticed you flipped me off back there because I honked at you because you weren't going on a green light."
Well, for one, I don't know if that's smart, especially
Oh, it's not. It's not.
I have a feeling though. So you're a calculated individual. So I felt like you probably sized up this person and knew that they probably weren't packing heat, though they could have been.
Could have been, but it is Seattle. Not the kind of thing that's going to happen in Seattle. And Seattle is not a confrontational place. And I think that is a problem with Seattle. There's not enough people that are confrontational. I think that people think they can get away with shit too much. And there's not enough checking in the world.
My other question is how many seconds, how long was it before you honked your horn? Because you've criticized me about the very same thing on this podcast.
I'm going to give him 3 seconds. But I was right behind him. I'm going to give him three to 5. Well, 3 to 5 seconds.
Clearly was just trying to check his map, and you interrupted that.
Oh, sorry. No, drive the car, right? If you're not going to be prepared to drive the vehicle, then don't be driving the vehicle. Don't be checking your map as an excuse. That's not an excuse. Everybody does it, but you can't hey, I was looking at my phone. That's why I didn't go. Well, that's not a reason for not going on driving.
Well, and was it a map on his phone, on his dashboard? It wasn't a paper map.
I have no idea. He just wasn't going. I don't know what he was doing.
Well, next time, I think what you should do is just run into the back end of him.
Just give him a rear. Well, see, what I really should do is I should pull up in front of him and then slam on my brakes. Because if somebody rear ends you, it's their fault. I don't want to rear end him. It'd be my fault.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
I just think, look, I think that there's not enough. I think that people think they can get away with stuff, and every once in a while, you got to remind them that there's repercussions for that. Oh, you'll flip somebody off, they might show up at your house.
Wow, you really took that to the next level.
I went to the next level. I took it too far.
Yeah, that's.
I feel pretty good about it.
All right, well, let's feel good. Let's give some shout outs, huh? On our socials, which it's always good. Social media. I'm starting to come around on it a little bit. You know what I mean? I've always been kind of against it, but I'm coming around.
It came out in 2004, man. This is 20 years later. You missed the bus.
Listen, I've had, I want to say that I had one of the original Facebook accounts. You don't have to tell me about it, all right? I get it.
I still, to this day, I don't go on there very often. And even though we have a Facebook account for the show, it's really not even running anymore. But I still type the Facebook.
Well, that's also because you're from Kansas.
That's what it was originally called, the Facebook. It was www.thefacebook.com, and I still type that.
I remember when you had to have an educational email to, have an account.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, man. I was a freshman sophomore in college. Anyways.
Okay.
All right, let's start here. Trinity Danielle.
I like that name.
Jorge Guerrero. Tomas Tamang. Ryan Mara. Jonathan Garrison. Ivan Lopez. I don't know why, but when I said this name, Ivan, for some reason, just seems like a good name.
It's Ivan. It's like a Russian Mexican.
Sure.
Ivan Lopez. The Russian. That's if I was him, I would have people call me the Russian Mexican. I'm Ivan Lopez, the Russian Mexican.
That's actually, maybe that's his handle. I don't
know.
Jeff Kennard, Evan Braun, Wyatt Novak, and Ty Venturini.
Okay.
Ty, I'm not against Ty, they're not against the name Ty, but I feel like, if you're going to be a Ty, you have to wear a cowboy hat and be into country music. Just how I feel.
How does he spell it?
Just T-Y.
Oh. Okay.
Is there?
I did.
You were just wondering. There was nothing behind that. Just wondering.
I just never really. I was wondering how they spelled it, and then I realized I don't know really how anybody else spells it. T-Y-E maybe.
T-Y-E, T-Y, T-A-Y. Anyways, let's see.
That would be Tay.
Tay. Anyways,
okay.
I had a way too long of a debate about this a couple of days ago, so this is just a question for you. Is soft serve ice cream? Well, I guess it's a two-part question. For one, is soft serve ice cream the dominant ice cream?
No.
Okay, then is it overrated as an ice cream in the ice cream world?
No, it's ice cream. And all ice cream is good. But I also don't really look at soft serve ice cream as the same as regular ice cream. I don't look at it as being quite the same thing. It's like an unknown product. Soft serve ice cream is the hot dog of the ice cream world. You're not really sure what it is. Like, you kind of know what it is, but you're not really sure what's in there.
I don't think anyone that's listening to this episode, nor including myself, has ever heard of soft serve being compared or being called the hot dog of the ice cream world.
Do you know what's in it? Like, I don't know what's in hot dogs. I don't know what's in soft serve ice cream.
I mean, I figured
they're both delicious, but a little bit suspect.
I mean, I just figured soft serve ice cream is cream, water, it's just ice cream, but it's softer.
Right, but I think it's a totally different thing.
So what you're saying is it's like processed
Why
meats.
don't you look? Nobody knows what's in it. I'm going to look this up while you go on to the next question.
All right. Well, we'll see if you can keep 2 and 2 straight, which you should be able to. But we'll see. I don't need you flipping me off and then confronting me.
I'm going to come after you
in a vehicle, which kind of leads me to my second question, and that is: do you think that you or I, probably you, because you'll probably live longer, will ever see the day where gasoline motors are practically non-existent? Well,
I think if we live, I think if we live till 2040, I think we would.
Now, so 2 parts to this question. Obviously, EVs are the first thing to take over, or take the reins, so to speak, as the vehicle of the future. But do you ever think flying vehicles are a realistic possibility in our lifetime?
No, not really. I think technology moves really slowly until it doesn't. I think that things like it goes really slow. There's this technology that you're going to hear about forever. We actually have our next episode, if anybody's listening to this, our next episode has an artificial intelligence safety expert coming on, and he talks about this a lot. He's like, technology accelerates, and then all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Haley Joel Osment in the house. Let's go.
What?
You don't remember the movie AI starring Haley Joel Osment?
No.
Oh, well.
No, completely forgot about that.
Like his career. All right. Let's see. A pretty good showing this week on Twitter for a Twitter poll. This is one of the higher vote counts we've had in the last recent memory.
Ooh.
By the way, did you ever get the question of what soft serve is?
No, I'm looking at it now.
And
it contains the exact same ingredients as regular ice cream, but comes from a machine that results in a smoother texture. The machine incorporates more air and doesn't allow the ice cream to harden as much. So it's actually exactly the same as ice cream. It's just made differently. So they say.
Yeah, don't
trust those motherfuckers.
Stick those hot dogs in your mouth. All right, so our choices this week, of course, the one that I think people are trolling us, which is fine because maybe us sounding like complete jackasses is what they want to hear. So here were the choices that didn't win. 1, Adam Hadwin. He was a golfer this week, he's a golfer this week. He was a golfer this past weekend at a tournament in Canada. The winner was celebrating, and he went to go celebrate with the winner, and he was tackled by security because they didn't know who he was.
That's what security's supposed to do, man. You can't be mad in that situation, right?
Yeah,
doing my job.
I thought this for sure would win, but this actually only got 5% of the vote, and that was Conor McGregor knocking out the Miami Heat mascot. Did you see that video?
No, but I have my doubts on if that's real or not. I don't even need to see it.
Well, I can tell you in terrible description that he fires a right hook at the mascot. I mean, it looked rough. The guy goes down, and then if you ever seen the UFC, like when a guy's on the ground and they start punching him in the face with like a backhanded closed fist, he did that once to the mascot, but like it looked like full speed. And anyways, apparently he sent the mascot to the hospital and everything else. So.
Yeah, he's gonna pay for that, but that's probably good publicity for everybody, right? Like,
yeah,
whenever the celebrities get involved in things like this, I don't really believe any of it's true. Not really.
Yeah, you've always said that, like that you don't think it's, you don't buy it, so to speak. It's always staged or something. But if
I think that it's always staged. I think the relationships are mostly fake. I think all of that stuff is fake.
You're Conor McGregor, though. I mean, you don't need it, right? I mean, you're a billionaire. You don't need the publicity. You're just. Can you name a celebrity? And I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but somebody who has been in the spotlight for negativity more in the last 5 years or decade even than him. I mean, every time it turns around, it seems like Conor McGregor hit a woman. Conor McGregor punched a guy out at a bar, knocks out a mascot. It's like, get it under
Always
control,
doing something.
bud. Like,
Yeah, that much negativity. Well, I mean, Kanye West.
right? Yeah, for sure.
I would say him.
I
Is
just
probably a little bit different, like less physical violence, more just kind of causing problems.
it's just I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't really like him in general. And if you're listening to this, don't come to my house and confront me in your vehicle because I won't get out because I know you'd kick the shit out of me. But I'm just done with him, man. Go away. Either fight or go away at this point.
Yeah, I think that he was a really big star for a while and then kind of dropped off after people were like, okay, we're a little bit sick of this stick.
Yeah, it's
whatever. I don't know
Anyways.
anything about it. Good for him. Good for the mascot. I'm sure he's going to get a nice paycheck off of it.
yeah, something, right?
Everybody's win-win.
So what won? And of course, I've never heard of these two people, but it was trending, and I was like, oh, this who knows? We'll learn something. So Don Bell won. Donbelle. Have you ever heard of that before?
No. Is it
What-
a person, thing, place, or location?
It's persons, and apparently
Don Bell.
it is the combination of Donnie Panelinan and Belle Mariano. They are a man and woman. They're Filipino, and apparently they are just huge over in Asia. They've been in a couple of movies together. They released some songs. The reason why they were trending this past weekend into this week is, they're releasing they're releasing another song and they're doing a TV show. But for those of you who don't give a shit about this, we'll move on in a second. But I found it interesting. One of their songs was called Bubblies. So all of their fans refer to themselves as Bubblies. Don Bell's Bubblies. That's the name of the fan group.
I mean, it's better than some of them. There's some pretty bad fan group names out there, right?
Well, I got to tell you, just going back, so Taylor Swift was in Detroit this past weekend.
Okay.
And-
You go to the concert, Swiftie.
No, I did not. I'm not saying I don't dislike her music. I think she's a great role model. I think she's done wonderful things, in her life, whatever. However, I mean, people waiting out like Thursday, they opened up the merchandise booths outside of the arena, and there was people outside at 4 a.m. waiting to get a $50 T-shirt. To me, that seems a little much.
Yeah, I don't think that I would wait in line for anything. Not like for tickets to get, I would wait in line, but I wouldn't get up early to go to anything like that unless it was like one of my kids' dreams.
Yeah,
Then I would do it. Otherwise, like, nah.
I just,
But
listen.
see, I think those are people who are buying them and then selling them to somebody else. I think that's a for-profit thing. They're not there because they really care. I think they're buying those and then they sell them to other people later.
I don't know. I mean, obviously for those of you who are first-time listeners, I work in the news business, and some of the people we talked to, I mean, they came from all around the world. I don't know why they picked Detroit, and I mean, I don't believe they would have lied to our reporter. But like one couple was from the Dominican, another couple was from Croatia. They just couldn't get tickets to any other show, but they could get tickets to the Detroit show though, so they came to see Taylor Swift, and it's like, good for her, I guess, but it just seems absurd to me.
You've never gone to another state or city for a concert?
I have. Well, no, let me rephrase that. I've never gone for one act. I've gone to music festivals, but I've never traveled to see. Well, that's kind of a lie, I guess. I've been to Toledo, Ohio, which is like just the other side of Michigan and Ohio border, to see a couple of people, but that's it. Like, that's it.
They were coming to Toledo, Ohio, but weren't going to go to Detroit?
Well,
They were like, no, fuck it. We're not going into Detroit. We're stopping at Toledo.
well, for like one of them, they were playing in Detroit, but it was $30 cheaper to go see them in Toledo, so that's why we did that.
There you go, right? How much do you spend on gas to get there?
It's like 40 miles. It's not that bad.
There and back, time lost. It's actually probably cheaper to go to Detroit. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyways.
Got to think big picture, man. You got to think the whole scope. Can't just look at one narrow little slice of the pie. You got to look at the whole thing.
All right. Are you done lecturing?
I am. Yeah, go ahead.
No.
Is it done?
I'm done.
Okay, so our top 5 is top 5 animated TV shows. What's your number 5?
First off, I realize that I'm going to piss off a lot of people with my list. Maybe you too.
It's a competitive list. As long as you don't say anything ridiculous, there's a lot of things that you can put in there. I think there's a clear number 1, though.
I am not sure that there has been a tougher top 5. We could make this top 15 if we really wanted to.
Yeah, you could push it out. You could push it out pretty easily.
This is by far, like, I have probably 30 shows right now. I haven't really even come up with a list. I don't know what to do.
So I had a lot of trouble deciding between certain shows. So I looked at shows that I would say that like they kind of changed things. They weren't just a good show, but they set a new level of like what animation is possible of, or launched a genre. Well, so anyway, just your number 5.
Well, I'm going to start here. My number 5, I'm going to go with Pokemon.
I don't think that that's a great TV show, though. I mean, well known, yeah, but I wouldn't say that it's good.
So I'm not necessarily going for what the show did in terms of what it did for animation or the genre. My shows are more based upon longevity, what they did, how much money I think they made. The icon. I'm about to make up a word here. The iconicity.
Okay, it's works.
Oh, the word for Pokemon, as I seem to always include them on my top 5 for whatever reason. It's still going. It has as much interest, if not more, now. It's popular around the world. I mean, it's spawned obviously the video games and movies. That's some of the reasons why it makes number 5 on my list.
I wouldn't put that personally in the top 50. But that's just me. I mean, I wouldn't put it. You put it in number 5. I wouldn't put it in the top 50. Maybe not even in the top 100. No, I would put it in number 76.
Okay, all right. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is Star Wars Clone Wars. Not the Clone Wars, but Star Wars Clone Wars, which was the original one that was like a series of a bunch of 5-minute episodes that was amazing. It was like what Star Wars could really be. It was amazing. It was incredible.
I'm not going against what you're saying. But in terms,
you've never seen it, have you?
I've never seen it. No. But in terms, to me, I mean, how popular was it? That seems like a niche thing to me.
No, it was incredible. It was one of those things that it was an appointment television. Okay. Like you waited and watched to see when that episode was coming out. I think it came out in 2003 or something like that. It was like, whoa. And you can go back there and still watch it, and you're still like, whoa, that's pretty good. It really showcased what Star Wars could be.
Okay. I mean, I know a lot of the characters that came out of that show now are, they were featured in the movies, but they didn't have big roles, right? And now they're kind of branching out and getting roles through other media.
It introduced General Grievous, and when they introduced General Grievous, you were like, holy crap. It was well done. It was good. It was good.
All right, my number 4, I'm going to go with Family Guy.
All right.
Once again,
okay.
Not gonna break any kind of animatronic animated records in terms of what they do, but it's like probably my top 4. They've survived, they've adapted, and they're as popular now as they were 20 years ago or 10 years ago.
I don't have Family Guy on the list only because I think there's another show that's similar to it that is way more influential. My number 4 is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
So I had never seen it. However, I did collect the cards from the show, which made no sense. I have it on my honorable mention just because I know how influential it was, but I couldn't tell you exactly. I mean, what's about a bald-headed kid and
it's about the Avatar. He's the last Airbender.
He
goes and he has to save the world from the Fire Nation. It actually probably has one of the most heartfelt messages of any animated show that I've seen. I still think about Uncle Iroh. Uncle Iroh was a fan. Uncle Iroh was Bandit Healer before Bandit Healer.
I'm sorry, did you say Uncle Iroh?
Uncle Iroh.
Oh.
General Iroh, the Dragon of the West.
Got it.
He's a great role model.
I have absolutely no idea what you're referring to, but
Right.
So my number 3, I have 2 at my number 3. They are both kids' TV shows, but I felt like the list had to have kids' TV shows on it just because it needs it. So my number 3 is a combination of the Bugs Bunny show, like Looney Tunes from the early 90s, and Cocomelon.
I've never actually seen Cocomelon. I hope to never ever see Cocomelon.
So it's obviously a newer show, right? So all of us 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 20-year-olds that have kids know what it is, which you should know what it is, but it's fine. But if you look every year, at least the last 5 years, I'm going to say that Cocomelon has dominated the downloads. Like it's usually it's usually in the top 5 shows on Netflix. It's obviously on ABC. It's that. And Looney Tunes, I mean, it's just Looney Tunes is so influential. I mean, how many characters have spawned from it? It's Looney Tunes for us was like today's Cocomelon, I feel.
I could see that. So my number three, I was originally going to do a tie between Rick and Morty and Adventure Time, but instead I'm going to do a tie between Batman the Animated Series and X-Men. 90s era cartoons that were like, whoa, those were good.
So I have both of those on my honorable mention just because I felt like you can't put one on like what you did. Like I couldn't put one on without the other, but I wasn't going to put both of them on, filling up a spot. But once again, look what they've turned, look what they were before and look what they've continued to do in terms of just keep those franchises going.
They really launched it. I remember Batman the Animated Series. That was like you came home and you watched that.
Yeah,
and then on Saturdays you watched X-Men.
Oh, so good. All right, so my number 2.
Who's your favorite? Who is? I want to see if you're a poser or not. Who is your favorite mutant? Who is your favorite mutant?
I was always the big blue guy. He's played by Kelsey Grammer in the movies. Beast, I think, just Beast.
How do you not know which one Beast is? That's the one that you should be able to like. Oh, I know which one that one is.
What? I know
the giant blue one.
I know Cyclops. I know Professor. I feel like Professor X is the most notable X-Men.
Either that or Cyclops.
Or Cyclops, yeah. Or Storm.
Because
Halle Berry. What's up?
Halle Berry. Yeah. Probably Professor X is the most. Well, Wolverine is the most recognizable X-Men.
Maybe. I still think. Maybe that should be a top 5. You really want to piss off some of our fan base. We should.
No, it has to be Wolverine. I mean, there's only one that they made a bunch of movies out of. It's Wolverine.
I don't care. Hugh Jackman never liked you.
Wolverine is actually supposed to be like 5'3". Supposed to be a little dinky tiny guy. Okay. What's your number? Did you already do your number 2?
No, my number 2. So this is tough. This might be the toughest 1-2 decision I've had to make.
Okay.
During our top 5s episode, what is it? 254 now.
It's up there.
My number 2. I'm gonna go with The Simpsons.
You're gonna.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
That's. Okay, I think I know what your number 1 is. That's not correct. If that's what I'm thinking your number 1 is. My number 2 is SpongeBob SquarePants. That's huge show. It's a good show. It is a good show, but it's massive. That's still going on. That's still got cultural relevance.
I mean, I considered putting that or Scooby-Doo on my top 5. But obviously I went with the other 2 kid shows instead. But yeah, I mean, the thing with SpongeBob to me is it's fine. And obviously it's withstood the test of time, but it's just annoying to me. Patrick's annoying. SpongeBob's kind of annoying. Just never get into it.
Yeah, I think they're kind of all supposed to be like that a little bit. I think that's the whole point. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna guess. Just go ahead and tell me. Right.
Well, we probably have the same number 1, I would think.
No, not at all.
So my number 1 is South Park.
My number one is Simpsons. I think I could agree with you that South Park has been better for longer, or at least maintained the same level of goodness. But I think The Simpsons is The Simpsons.
You don't even have the South Park on your top 5?
No.
Oof.
I don't even know what network it's on. Like, South Park is a good show, but I haven't watched it. South Park is an episode that everybody maybe knows of, but a much smaller proportion have ever actually watched an episode.
See, I disagree with you. I think well, I don't know if I did. Yeah. Comparing it to The Simpsons, I feel like they're, like I said, I feel like they're neck and neck. Yes, The Simpsons kind of broke the mold and proved that you could be an animated TV feature show for 30 years. But South Park, pushes the envelope every season. And the fact that, the fact that they've literally have taken 4 kids characters and have turned them into global icons is insanity to me.
I think that South Park is the more popular show now and is probably the better show now, but it's just not The Simpsons. Simpsons is the original. Without them, there is no South Park.
Right. I that's the thing. I don't disagree with you. I just I guess I'll say personal preference. I'll put South Park above The Simpsons.
Okay, a study of TV ratings has found that South Park's most recent seasons average out at 0.65 million viewers per episode. So I guess that's 650,000 people. I'm going to look up The Simpsons while you go through what your honorable mention
There's
is.
plenty.
There's probably a ton.
Get ready. All right. Let's see. So we'll start King of the Hill, the Batman animated series, Ren and Stimpy, X-Men, Scooby-Doo, Rugrats, SpongeBob, Daria, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, The Tick, Naruto.
It's Naruto.
Same thing. The Jetsons, DuckTales, Paw Patrol, BoJack Horseman, which is a fantastic show. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Beavis and Butthead, Doug, and Bluey.
Bluey to me is one of the best new shows, but it's not old enough yet to be on an honorable mention for myself personally. Simpsons draws an average of 1.95 million viewers, so about 2 million viewers. So it's essentially 3 times bigger than South Park. Now, some of that is probably because it's on broadcast.
Absolutely.
As opposed to cable, but
South
still,
Park
Simpsons still is a much bigger show.
I'm not debating which show is bigger. I mean, I think The Simpsons is probably more of a viewership, but however, right, it's on broadcast, it's not on cable. And the characters, I would argue to say, are just as iconic as The Simpsons. You can name me all 4 boys, and most people can name me all 4 boys. I feel like you're going to struggle on the 5 Simpson members of the, at least 2 of them.
What? No. Homer, Marge, Lisa, Bart, and Maggie.
Okay. I mean,
and South Park is, you can name, I think that if you got most people, they can name more Simpsons. Well, I don't know. Maybe not now.
No,
most people our age could probably name more Simpsons characters than South Park characters.
I don't think so, man. I think Maggie and Lisa are going to throw you for a loop, as where Kyle, Kenny, Stan, and Cartman are pretty easy to remember.
This is the point of the show where I also bring up that John thought that Bob Ross was not going to be remembered, even though his show has been running for 40 years, and that he puts ketchup on barbecue.
I never said that, that I put ketchup on barbecue, but it is a good added substitute if you're looking for anything and you're out of everything. So I don't recommend it, but it is there in case of emergencies.
Yeah, I can't really. Okay, I don't watch South Park, and off the top of my head, Kyle, Cartman, Stan. Who's Kenny is the 4th one.
Yeah, see?
Is Chef still on there?
No, I don't think so. It kind of fell out.
Mr. Hat?
Yes.
Mr. Hat? Who's the teacher? See, right there, man. Like, I am fully aware of South Park, but I can't name
Well, we're not talking about the supporting characters. I think anyone between the ages of 21 and 45 should be able to name the 9 main characters from both shows. If you can't,
I'm sure they could.
If you can't do that, then you need to learn them. However, I think if you were to quiz 100 people, they're going to get South Park more than they are going to get the main characters of The Simpsons.
I would disagree with that. My other honorable mentions, I have Doug on there. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah, you can't forget those. Those are also possibly top 5 contenders.
Animaniacs. That was a good show. That was a show that was like, but it was better. It was a good, well done. Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, I
Powerpuff
guess.
Girls was a big show. Powerpuff Girls was a big show. I had Adventure Time. I never gave a shit about the Flintstones or the Jetsons or Scooby-Doo or any of those other ones, but I did like Looney Tunes and that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's kind of like Legacy at that point, right? I mean, those shows paved the way for a show like The Simpsons. You know, well, maybe not The Simpsons, but well, maybe, yeah, maybe.
What? Okay, how many episodes? What year? And how many episodes into The Simpsons are we? And we'll end on that note.
Well,
what's your guess?
Let me hold on one second. I might know this.
No, don't look it up.
I'm not. I'm gonna say they're on year 33.
Okay, that is correct.
Yeah, because I know the year it started. Now, in terms of episodes, I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I don't even know if I'm that smart to do that much. I'm gonna say 950.
750, which I would give you to be pretty close, right? Like, once you get up that high, it's not that different. If you go back, for younger viewers, if you go back and look at just some Simpsons episodes in the 90s, they were good. There were some really good ones in the 90s. And then they really piddled out for the last 23 years. But
here's the last thing I'll say about cartoons, specifically like The Simpsons, is back in our day, which wasn't that long ago, like, if there was a special, like The Simpsons used to do the Halloween special, like, you made sure you were there to watch it. Nowadays, what show does that? What show has the pull to say, like, yeah, on Christmas, we're going to have a big animated, show? None of them that I know of.
No, nothing.
I mean, listen, if you're an animator out there and you're listening, let's do that. You will get people to watch, for God's sakes. I'm one of them.
Okay. Well, okay.